AI in the hiring lifecycle with the GM of Veritone, Alex Fourlis, next on the RecTech podcast.
Welcome to RecTech, the podcast where recruiting and technology intersect. Each month, you'll hear from vendors shaping the recruiting world, along with recruiters who'll tell you how they use technology to hire talent. Now, here's your host, the mad scientist of online recruiting, Chris Russell.
Hey again, RecTechies. Welcome to the only podcast that helps employers and recruiters connect with more candidates through technology-inspired conversations. Mastering recruitment technology is the key to hiring great talent. That's why this show exists. All right, Alex Fourlis is the general manager at Veritone, the parent owner of Pandologic and Broadbean, the job distribution platform that they acquired last year. And he's here today to talk about AI in the hiring lifecycle. Alex, welcome to the show. It's good to have you. Where in the world are you today?
Currently in Europe, in actually Athens, Greece. Just back from our London office where we had like our global kickoff. So after a very exciting week with a lot of discussions and planning for next year, back at homeland.
So how's the whole, you came from Broadbean, obviously. You worked there at your previous role, but how's the whole acquisition gone? And give me some thoughts on what you guys are up to these days.
Yeah, so it's one of the fastest, I think, integration journeys I've seen. Like the two teams are coming together very quickly, exchange ideas. We had teams from Israel, from US, from UK, talking and planning on our new Veritone Hire platform, which is an ongoing effort to bring together all the capabilities of job distribution, programmatic advertising, and all our solutions and candidate management in one place to offer a new unique capability to clients to manage all their jobs and all their candidates in one place. So when it comes to job advertising, so that's our current plan and vision for the combined entity, and we are progressing very quickly on the next stages. So we are getting ready to show something to the world later this year. But obviously, given that we're less than I would say 7 months into the integration, the fact that we now have like all the teams working together in 4 continents, the systems talking to each other, the first integrations and cross-sales of products and services, we're extremely happy with the progress so far.
Nice. Will Broadbean always kind of be a separate entity, do you think, as a product versus
aspect? Like our plan is to fully combine the capability. So to put it simply, the last 3-4 years at Broadbean, we were always planning and already partnering and working with players in the programmatic industry. We always felt that the next evolution of job distribution includes automated solutions like programmatic advertising. Clients wanted flexibility, speed. They wanted the ability to manage huge campaigns at scale. And we always played around with the idea, but the merging of Broadbean and Pandologic, I think for Broadbean is equaling like an acceleration of 2-3 years of our roadmap. So that's why I said that we are very, very excited. And I think for Pandologic, the opportunity there obviously is the global reach of Broadbean with more than 3,000 clients in 3 different continents, really bringing the Pandologic solution outside North America. And a lot of other kind of like new ideas that we are kind of developing under the hood.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the market a bit. So today, actually, we had huge job numbers here in the U.S. I don't know if you saw the numbers yet, but 353,000 new jobs in the U.S. in January, which to me blew my mind. But what are you guys expecting from the job market this year?
Yeah, to be honest, like obviously, we are optimists as well. The reality is 2023 wasn't I would say, great year. There was like I would say, a feeling of declining hiring activity throughout the year. Not the type of a recession or like a really big crisis, but definitely we would see the impact in the job numbers across the world. We we feel 2024 will be a better year. I'm not really sure that 1 month or 1 quarter will be enough to give us like a definite verdict of when we kind of go to the other side. I still feel there's some challenges ahead. At the same time, we're hearing for a lot of also layoffs in the tech sector. We also seeing the results of like big staffing agencies announced in the last weeks difficult quarters, at least for Q4 last year. So I think it's going to be a mixed bag in terms of the labor market and job growth for the first definitely 2 quarters, and progressively better as we go into late 2024.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. We're seeing layoffs, and we're also seeing a lot of jobs too. So it just depends on what industry you're in, I guess. Let's get into the AI discussion here. There's been some talk I've heard lately, just AI killing jobs overall, and particularly like recruiting jobs, because everything's being automated and AI is kind of taking over a lot of the aspects of recruiting. What's your sense on that? Do you think recruiters are going to lose their jobs in the future? And give me some thoughts on how it's going to shake out.
We are, working as a Veritone group in the field of AI for almost 10 years now, right? And we are fairly in the side that believes that there's always going to be a man in the loop. And in this case, we are designing a new platform based on having a recruiter in the loop, amplified and empowered and supported by AI, but definitely being there. There's also, for us, like the obvious kind of legislative and ethical discussion about, hiring decisions that, is already starting with New York. We were one of the first that were audited for this new legislation. And we, abide by the law that the final hiring decision needs to be taken by a personal recruiter, right? So we believe that AI is here to really amplify the capabilities of any recruiter, but not to substitute.
Yeah, I do think it's going to really augment their existing jobs. I just think though that I think we're going to have a little bit less recruiters out there. We may have seen peak recruiter staffing, in other words, with AI. But anyway.
Looking for your next HR technology role? Go to your browser, type in hrtechjob.com, and browse hundreds of jobs with the best HR technology vendors. HR tech professionals finally have a dedicated job marketplace to find work or be found. Sign up for job alerts or post a resume. Discover jobs with companies like Workday, Phenom, HiBob, Deal, and more. You'll even find HR tech roles with employers in case you want to work with managing HCM or HRIS platforms. HR Tech Job, the only job market for HR technology careers. Join us at hrtechjob.com.
We're already seeing a lot of, we talked about the layoffs on that, but the resumes, the applications seem to be getting more and more and more with AI. There's actually a tool called Lazy Apply, if you heard of that one, where it's a machine that just basically applies to jobs for the seeker, like rapid fire. So it seems like the number of applications are going up across the board for companies. How can AI help recruiters manage this load and find the right candidate?
I think you made that introduction, in the head on that one. I think it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Like, if we are honest, it's going to be a bit of a war initially, because AI definitely will support us in the efforts of delivering kind of like better quality applicants. We already kind of experimenting and playing around. Our number one demand since the kind of like the labor market slowed down from clients is quality. Doesn't seem to be our main priority right now. Quality is, right? And we see, as you said, there's research that says one of 3 graduates from US universities are using services like Lazy Apply to create the resume and apply at scale, and that creates a lot of noise and creates a lot of problems for providers like us that want to deliver the best candidate at the right time at the right cost to our clients, right? So at the same time, we are using AI to understand those CVs, the quality, the matching between the applicant and the job, and that's why I'm saying it's going to be a battle of, I think, algorithms, AIs, and the engineers behind them to really get us on the other side. Because at the same time that we are, I think, as recruitment technology providers trying to use AI to provide better quality, there's also the capability for someone to use it in their own way and just spam the market with thousands or millions of applications at the same time. So it's going to be, we already seen evidence of that being happening in the market. And so I don't think it's going to be a very straightforward answer that's like black or white. It's only going to help. It's only going to create more noise and problem in the market. I think it's going to take some time until the dust settles on that argument.
Yeah. How about the reverse of it? Talk about the candidate side of that process. How do they need to think differently about their resumes, filling out applications? Do you have any tips there?
No, I think definitely, there's like obviously an ethical boundary, right? You can use technology. You can obviously write your resume. Actually, I have tomorrow morning, I have a meeting with my brother. He's between jobs. So he said, like, let's use some of the services. Like, let's try to write your new, let's say,
So you're playing job coach tomorrow?
With ChatGPT. So I'm going to give you my follow-up on which are the best technologies out there. But I think, if you use it properly to give you ideas, my wife is a writer. She's using ChatGPT to give her different endings to her scripts and to her books, right? So there's like possibly amazing uses and positive uses and use cases for that. But yeah, if you if you want to write a bogus application or just like try to match every application process or every questionnaire that an employer brings in front of you, you also have the capability to do that through technology, right? So I think it's less on AI, but on how we use it.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of AI being baked into all kinds of hiring software and recruiting software out there, Alex. But what do companies need to know about ensuring they're using AI appropriately when it comes to hiring and processing applicants?
Obviously, they need to look at their suppliers, right? Do their kind of vendor, let's say, management properly. In our case, as I said, we went through an audit to comply with the new New York legislation. We published the results. Therefore, somebody can read the results and understand, how we use AI in our application. There's a blog post that explains our algorithms on our site. We believe as a business very strongly in ethical AI. And I think the reality is that we need to do our due diligence. We need to ask questions. When we have suppliers, that claim to use AI in their products, we need to ask them to explain how exactly it affects kind of like the hiring decisions or how does it create the data that we give to recruiters to make decisions. And that's the simple answer to that. Like everybody has to do their own due diligence in terms of how this is being used. And as a suppliers, we have the responsibility to be transparent, right? To explain, in detail how we're going to use that. And I think that's for now. I'm sure there's going to be more legislation. There's going to be more kind of self-accreditation certification schemes that will provide a little bit more depth in that market. But it's a very new industry. It's rapidly evolving in that sense, especially the generative AI. So I would say make your due diligence, use trusted partners. Like on our side, we're using not Gen AI, but AI, in our programmatic advertising for the last, 6 years. So we have developed a very thorough understanding of how our algorithms, make decisions around bids, around.
What's one quick example of how you guys are leveraging AI right now inside of like Pandologic, for example?
Yeah. In Pandologic, we have, for example, a very interesting algorithm that's called Wolfpack, right? Our engineer that designed it, he comes from bioengineering, and he used a lot of biomimicry kind of techniques to design that. And pretty much Wolfpack is chasing for the best potential kind of bids for the jobs that are in a campaign. Or we have Flop that allows the different jobs to work in a campaign to work in comparison in combination in order to achieve the kind of like the final outcome. So obviously, when we're talking about advertising, there's millions of decisions about, at which publisher, at which cost, at which position within the page, with which job title, with which location that you need to make pretty quickly. You need to experiment. You need to follow kind of like different approaches. There's another algorithm that's called carousel that pretty much like tries different variations of the same job to get the best possible applicant for that job. So there's a lot of different ways to use AI in our products. And I'm sure that with generative AI, we're designing a full co-pilot for the recruiter that could answer questions of how do I get a full KPI report on my campaign, or asking the system to create a campaign strategy for this set of jobs that are in logistics in Midwest, for example. So there will be more and more use cases where we see kind of like as I said, like in our view, the AI augmenting the capabilities or accelerating the work of a recruiter to get to the right outcome. But the way we see it is it's there to make kind of like take the cumbersome and the boring and the time-consuming kind of tasks to allow the recruiter to make more decisions and more person-to-person interaction with the candidates. So freeing time from activities like understanding, the quality of applicants, understanding how to distribute my jobs and my budget, answering these questions as quickly as efficient as possible, so I can concentrate. Okay, I now have a short list of 5 great candidates that I need to contact and finalize my decision. For example.
Do you foresee voice becoming part of all this equation at some point, Alex?
We already had some experiments and projects on pilot basis with clients where they can use voice to engage candidates. We feel it's more like an early stage, early funnel, high funnel activity at this point. Is probably, I don't really believe in like the really kind of like robotic recruiter that will do interviews and finalize engagement. But if somebody wants to ask, are you available? What's your target salary? When can you meet me for an interview? This kind of early stage engagement definitely can happen using voice AI. And that's something that I think we'll see, especially in high volume of hiring kind of like roles very soon.
Yep. Very cool. Well, you can check them out at veritone.com. Alex, what events are going to be out this year? We're going to see you on the road?
Yes, we are participating in February is actually one of the most active months of the year. You'll find us at the SIA's Leader Summit, but we're also participating in a lot of Workday, Bullhorn events. ATSs are very big partners of ours, and we actively participate in their events as well, so you can meet us there. But we'll be in many industry and industry partner events throughout the year.
Very cool. Well, we'll see you on the road, and appreciate you joining us today, Alex. Thanks for the quick chat.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the invitation.
That will do it for this episode of the RecTech Podcast. Be sure to follow us on the socials, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, via the @RecTech Media handle. See every video, podcast, and blog we publish. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Remember, always be recruiting.
Another episode of RecTech is in the books. Follow Chris on Twitter @ChrisRussell or visit rectechmedia.com, where you can find the audio and links for this show on our blog. RecTech Media helps keep employers and recruiters up to date through our podcasts, webinars, and articles. So be sure to check out our other sites, Recruiting Headlines and HR Podcasters, to stay on top of recruiting industry trends. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon on the next episode of RecTech, the Recruiting Technology Podcast.